begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Monday, January 20 edition of the HGP Nightly News. Here's what you need to know this evening. Antonio Day tells us that opposition leader Aubrey Norton has rubbished the 2025 budget since it did not include poverty reduction measures. The 2025 national budget was presented by Senior Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, Friday last.
On Friday, the $1.382 trillion budget presented by Senior Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, since has sparked widespread criticisms. Leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, has since rubbished the budget.
This is the worst budget I've ever heard. It's just gaff and fluff. And the finance minister trying to hide their failures under false comparisons.
The opposition leader expressed that the budget bereft real costs of living reductions while refusing to provide a livable income.
This budget has nothing in it to reduce or eliminate poverty. None of the announcement will provide a livable income. None.
He also criticized the increase in old age pension, which in his view is paltry and not sustainable.
The increase from 36 to 41,000 is 5,000 Guyana dollars. It is ridiculous. Pensioners cannot live on it. The increases that could deal with people's lifestyle and giving them an income are very, very small. But when you talk about contracts, etc., you get in large number.
Meanwhile, economist Elson Lowe highlighted that the government has yet again failed to roll out effective measures to address the extant situation of high living costs locally. He noted that this year's budget did not cater to such.
We again heard from the government really anemic, minimal efforts to deal with the cost of living. $9 billion up from the $7 billion last year. We've mentioned that at minimum $20 billion needs to be put towards direct cost of living mitigation. But even then, there needs to be a raft of measures to deal with it directly.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio. The Vigilant Political Action Committee, VPAC, has flayed government over its failure to implement measures in Budget 2025 to address the real issues affecting Guyanese. Chairman of the movement, Dorwin Bess, says tax reform and the rising cost of living are among the real issues. Here's more. A new political movement, Vigilant Political Action Committee, says it has taken note of the government of Guyana's $1.382 trillion budget, but highlights that for far too long, political parties have been making unbelievable tax promises, and that should have been addressed in the 2025 budget. Chairman of VPAC, Dorwin Bess, spoke with Nightly News via telephone on Monday.
Guyana has an old, antiquated tax law where it predates our petrodollar. We are now benefiting from an oil revenue that we would have never benefited from before. So why are we still overly burdened by the existence of the same old, antiquated tax system? One of the first things that the Guyanese people would like to see is the two sides of the house united on issue number one.
Bess said now that VPAC has entered the political arena, it will be pushing for real solutions beneficial to civil servants in an effort to lower the cost of living, an issue that should have been vigorously addressed in the $1.382 trillion budget.
How much does it cost, the hard cost, for Guyanese to survive? The bare minimum, rent, food, gas, water, light, whatever it is. And let us use that number and make sure that no one is taxed to that number. That is a good way to start.
Notably, the political movement is of the view that such a large budget is necessary, given that Guyana is now an oil-producing nation. But careful spending is also an important contributing factor, Bess asserts.
The average public servants today can't make it past the first 2 weeks of the month on the salary. And if the current or the sitting government and the opposition doesn't agree with this, then maybe we're not living in the same society.
VPAC says that Budget 2025 should have provided for every Guyanese an equal opportunity to build a life within Guyana, given its burgeoning economy.
Why in the fastest growing economy in the world, now with a budget of 1.3 trillion, which, like I said, is the first tranche of maybe a 2 point something trillion dollar budget, are we still in need of a handout? Why do we still have to sit at home and hope for someone to come with an hamper and wait for Christmas to be getting toys and free kites? There's enough wealth.
The 2025 budget, according to VPAC, is designed to make the rich richer. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Meanwhile, Shadow Minister of Finance in the Alliance for Change camp's Director of Finance has raked the state over the coals for excluding several measures in this year's national budget. Hear more from Antonio Day.
Last year, Head of State Irfanale announced that individuals with various academic degrees will receive new monthly qualification allowances from January 2025. Individuals with their qualification from the Association of Charter Certified Accountants, known as ACCA, will get a monthly allowance of $15,000. Those with a master's degree will receive $22,000 monthly, and those with a doctoral degree, $32,000 monthly. Finance highlighted the notable absence of these measures from the budget presentation.
Some of the things that were announced was not even mentioned in the budget. So apparently, the Head of State did not consult with his ministers or the other president when he was making those announcements.
The AFC's point person on finance reasoned that one is left to believe that there were no consultations between the Ministry of Finance and the President regarding the measures announced.
And with the masters, persons would be getting $32,000. That was completely cut out. Budget 2025 did not mention it. Apparently, it's not happening.
Finance and echoing similar sentiments to those of opposition leader Aubrey Norton said this year's fiscal plan lacked impactful measures to address poverty, the high cost of living, or any meaningful measures to address human development.
But cost of living mitigation and measures to actually fight the increasing cost of living is not something that PDP is skilled at looking at. If you don't have a structure in which you're going to actually disperse these monies and you don't have any programs or policies that you're utilizing these monies to be spent on, then it's such one for political purposes.
Economist Elsino also called the government out for its ineffective approach to addressing the high cost of living. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio, for your reporting. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Dolman Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc., powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
Krishna Rock Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating, machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara, or call 220-9624, 616-9416, or 619-7880. At Krishna Rock Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
Welcome back to the HGP Nightly News. The government of Guyana has allocated $143.2 billion in the 2025 national budget for the expansion and modernization of the health sector. A significant portion of the funding will be directed toward the purchase of essential drugs and infrastructure. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance and the public service, Dr. Ashley Singh, emphasized that the $143.2 billion to be pumped into the health sector will be transformative. 6 regional hospitals at Lima, Diamond, Enmore, Bath, Decandran, and the number 75 village are expected to be completed and operational in 2025. Alongside the flagship pediatric and maternity hospital at Ogo. Additionally, the Latam Regional Hospital will undergo significant upgrades, with $28.1 billion budgeted for these projects.
Design and construct a medicines regulatory laboratory and office complex, a national neurological rehabilitation center, and a center of excellence for cancer treatment, for which a sum of $2.9 billion is budgeted. Update, upgrade, and retrofit health facilities and living quarters throughout the country, for which a sum of $6.5 billion is budgeted.
During his presentation of the 2025 national budget at the Otachang Conference Center, Dr. Ashley Singh noted that investments in equipment and services remain critical. Since 2020, the introduction of digital imaging equipment has supported over 296,000 cases nationwide. To continue this momentum, $4.3 billion has been set aside for medical equipment, and $28 billion will ensure essential drugs and supplies are available in 2025.
We've introduced telemedicine centers, and we will introduce telemedicine centers in all of in sites across regions 1, 4, 5, 7, 8.
Capacity includes 14 regional vaccine storage units, walk-in refrigerators in Region 6 and 10, and vaccine refrigerators at 99 facilities were installed nationwide. With regard to chronic diseases, the government has promoted preventative health care through targeted programs.
We have screened over 90,000 persons, surpassing our target of 70,000 persons, and we anticipate screening 100,000 persons in 2025.
Mental health care has also advanced, with updated legislation such as the Suicide Act 2025 and the Mental Health Protection and Promotion Act 2022. Additionally, the government has operationalized the Mental Health Board.
We have trained 622 professionals. We have expanded an 18-bed mental health ward at the GPHC. And the current New Amsterdam will be converted to the National Mental Health Facility with the closure of the old National Psychiatric Hospital.
Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Our developing story, chairman of the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana, Vincent Alexander, says the Assembly intends to engage the United Nations on challenges, particularly the stern resistance received from the state. Here again is Tiana Cole.
During a media conference hosted by the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana, IPADG, Chairman Vincent Alexander, in reflecting on the first decade, noted that the Assembly has consistently worked to empower people of African descent and advocate for systemic changes at the level of the state. Alexander emphasized that much of the institutional and legal progress required for such empowerment hinges on government's commitment to implementing and enforcing needed changes.
And we have seen the stern resistance of the state to accepting the need for and putting in place programs and projects for the realization. But IPADG continue to work with and for the people of African descent.
Alexander reiterated that during the upcoming review, IPADG says it will present further recommendations to the United Nations to address the plethora of human rights issues affecting Guyanese. These recommendations will outline actions the government should undertake to improve the current state of affairs.
The review of the situation on human rights in Guyana, the periodic review, will take place in February of this year at the United Nations at its Geneva Human Rights Office. And we will be active participants in that review.
When questioned about claims by the Vice President that Ipadaji was withholding funds from organizations, Alexander clarified that while the government has been distributing grants to various groups, these grants should not be seen as a substitute for the state's broader responsibilities. He encouraged organizations to accept the grants as a means to enhance its work.
Those grants in no way reflect what is intended to be undertaken by the state in terms of transformation of our institutional and legal arrangements.
Alexander highlighted that the declaration of the second decade calls for active participation from the state. He emphasized that the government has an obligation to create a comprehensive plan to address the needs of people of African descent during this new decade.
And the fact that there is a second decade is also a response by the United Nations to the need for governments and for civil society and the society at large to continue to be responsive where they have been, and to be responsive where they have not been to the needs of the people of African descent.
Ipadaji has pledged to intensify its fight against discrimination, marginalization, and oppression of African descent as the United Nations launches the second decade for people of African descent 2025 to 2034. The first decade concluded last December. The new decade's theme, People of African Descent, Recognition, Justice and Development, which reflects the ongoing global challenges faced by African descendants. Tiana reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Tiana, for your reporting. Corruption seems to be brewing in Cane Grove on the east coast of Demerara. Chairman of the Cane Grove Water Users is claiming that $12 million from the entity's coffers remain unaccounted for, and already fingers are pointing in a certain direction. Hear more from Daisy Richards.
After farmers decided to speak out about the canals in Cane Grove located on the east coast of Demerara, the Cane Grove Water Users Chairman, Vivekan Hariprasad, sat down with Nightly News on Monday, claiming that the entity's former chair, Lachman Sarju, allegedly stole roughly $12 million from the board's savings. He said this has now left the entity cash-strapped.
And he get paid from the government for it. The other thing that I inherit a empty bank book from him, where this bank book was, I don't know. He take out all that money of the other book that named Cane Grove Water User.
Hariprasad also told Nightly News that there is currently no money in the water users' account to pay workers, therefore the canals remain blocked.
I'm going to take this money. I have none money in my treasury as a chairman take over the Cane Grove Water User.
Farmers are claiming that canals in the area were not cleaned in more than 4 years. Hariprasad has since denied those claims. He noted that although the entity is cash-strapped, it receives support from the Ministry of Agriculture. According to the chair, this still hasn't solved the problem.
What you are getting on there is not correctly. The low wage of VPAC contractors are leaving the job.
But the low wage...
Now the water user have the fault, not the water user. Is the contractor are not giving a satisfactory wage.
Several farmers recently told Nightly News that 75% of the canals in the area remain blocked, preventing proper drainage, which affect over 2,000 acres of farmland. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Thank you, Daisy, for your reporting. Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project? It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Cvance Waste Management today at 218-1455.
Interested in honoring or paying tribute to a loved one, or just making a loved one feel special? HGP TV offers you all that and more. Air your birthday greetings, death announcements, and wedding anniversaries on HGP TV today. HGP TV offers affordable prices, convenience, and great services. Call us on 220-3660 or email us at sales@hgptv.com.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Welcome back. The C. Douglas Institute of Learning partnered with the Global Emergency Medical Registry and hosted its first ever medical conference to bridge the gap between certification and training. Daisy Richards tells you more.
On Monday, the C. Douglas Institute of Learning and the Global Emergency Medical Registry held its first medical conference in Guyana. Dr. Charles D. Bunbury, a speaker at the conference, pointed out that the two-day event seeks to align local media professionals with the International Organization of Standardization, ISO.
With the influx of outside entities and the oil and gas entities coming into Guyana, there are some ISO standards in which we must meet in all areas, and healthcare is one of those. And being as though we are at the forefront of emergency medicine,
it is expected that participants leave more informed and equipped,
that they can get these standards and be able to work throughout the Caribbean region with the outside entities meeting those standards.
Michael Christie, a representative of the Global Emergency Medical Registry, said the goal is to have one standard floating across all industries as the minimum standard.
We simply are here to sort of help people find that standard so that everybody can speak apples to apples. I think that's a hugely valuable thing in healthcare.
The Global Emergency Medical Registry, a company designed to mimic the certifying bodies within the United States and Europe, while also serving countries outside of those continents. For HGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
With the police now, police are preparing to file charges against a man who allegedly killed his brother on Sunday at Victoria on the east coast of Demerara. More details in this report. Police on the east coast of Demerara have launched an investigation into the murder of 34-year-old Akeem Prince of Section A, Victoria North, East Coast Demerara. Crime sleuths investigating the incident have said Akeem Prince was chopped to death by his brother, Kareem Prince, at their Victoria home, East Coast Demerara, on Sunday morning. Police in a statement to the press said the brothers, who were living together in the same house, were involved in a heated argument just before dawn on Sunday. About an hour after that argument, an uncle of the siblings told the police that someone informed him that Akeem Prince was lying in front of the Victoria North Nursery School. The uncle told investigators that he immediately got dressed and went to the school. When he got there, he found his nephew in a semi-conscious state and what appeared to have been chop wounds to his head. Emergency medical technicians from the Melanie Fire Station were summoned, and they immediately got into action. Unfortunately, Prince succumbed to his injuries. Crime scene detectives who examined the body of Prince found 4 chop wounds, 2 to the right side of the face, 1 above the right eye, and the other to his forehead. The body was escorted to the Memorial Gardens mortuary, awaiting an autopsy. Persons in the area said the suspect, Kareem Prince, who is known to be mentally ill, was arrested Sunday morning at Victoria Public Road. He was told of the allegation, but he opted to remain silent. He is being processed for court. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Stay tuned for your regional news.
It's a new day with Shilling Oil. A unique blend of natural oils to help ease and soothe the day-to-day discomforts of life. from muscle and joint pain, headaches, and congestion. Shilling Oil lets you get back to the things you love doing most. Water relief with Shilling Oil. Distributed by Massey Distribution.
Interested in honoring or paying tribute to a loved one, or just making a loved one feel special? HGP TV offers you all that and more. Air your birthday greetings, death announcements, and wedding anniversaries on HGP TV today. HGP TV offers affordable prices, convenience, and great services. Call us on 220-3660 or email us at sales@hgptv.com.
Good evening, I'm Daisy Richards and welcome to Monday's edition of the Regional News. We begin with news from Trinidad and Tobago. There have been 2 double murders in the country in a matter of hours. 2 men were ambushed, shot and killed in Belmont on Saturday night, while on Sunday 2 brothers were shot dead in Meatlot. In the first incident, police said around 11:10 p.m. Belmont police were alerted to a shooting at Collins Road off St. Francois Valley Road, Belmont. When they arrived on the scene, they found a Ford Ranger parked at the side of the Collins Road. Outside the van was the body of one of the victims, Stephen Shadrach Chuni Singh, 18 of Tumpuna Road, Arima. In the front passenger seat of the van was the body of Ian Jones Thomas, 54, of Taruma Village in Beach. Officers of the Region 1 Homicide Bureau, as well as the crime scene unit, visited the scene and looked for evidence. In an unrelated incident, 2 brothers were shot and killed in Meatlot on Sunday afternoon. Police said that around 4 p.m. Akil and Arnott Isaac were liming with other men at Santa Cruz Road when they were ambushed by gunmen. 4 people were shot and were taken to the Sangre Grande Hospital, where the brothers were pronounced dead on arrival. The murder toll for the year so far stood at 18 on Sunday evening, while the toll on this date last year was 34 without the state of emergency. While in Dominica, Jonathan Lehrer, already facing charges for the double murder of Daniel Langlois and Dominique Marchand, has now been charged with firearms trafficking and illegal importation, local media reported. The charges filed on Thursday, January 16, stem from an alleged incident on December 4, 2023, where Lehrer is accused of trafficking a Mag 11 9mm threaded barrel Glock, magazines, and numerous rounds of 9mm ammunition. As these are indictable offenses, Lehrer did not enter a plea in court. The case will be tried at the High Court before a judge and jury. Lehrer is represented by attorneys Lennox Lawrence and Wayne Nord, with Inspector Simon Edwards leading the prosecution. Magistrate Michael Laudat has instructed the prosecution to disclose all relevant documents by March 15, 2025. A preliminary inquiry for the firearms-related charges is scheduled for April 22, 24, and 25, 2025. Now for some international news. Donald Trump, who overcame impeachments, criminal indictments, and a pair of assassination attempts to win another term in the White House, will be sworn in as the 47th president on Monday, taking charge as Republicans assume unified control of Washington and set out to reshape the country's institutions. Trump will act swiftly after the ceremony, with executive orders already prepared for his signature to jumpstart deportations, increase fossil fuel development, and reduce civil service protections for government workers. He plans to declare the beginning of, quote, a thrilling new era of national success as, quote, a tide of change is sweeping the country, unquote, according to excerpts of his inaugural address. The executive orders are the first step in what Trump will call, quote, the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense, unquote. When Trump takes the oath of office at noon on Monday, he will realize a political comeback without precedent in American history. 4 years ago, he was voted out of the White House during an economic collapse caused by the deadly COVID-19 pandemic. Trump denied his defeat and tried to cling to power. He directed his supporters to march on the Capitol while lawmakers were certifying the election results, sparking a riot that interrupted the country's tradition of the peaceful transfer of power. Thank you for watching. Do have a productive week. Until next time.
Worst budget ever does not address poverty, high cost of living, says Aubrey Norton. VPAC flays government over budget 2025 measures, says urgent solutions needed to address real issues. Ipadaji faces resistance from the state amid UN declaration of second decade for people of African descent. And Victoria man chopped to death by mentally ill brother, suspect being processed for court. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.